here to set the agenda. This was the group that I was part of for 4 years, the IPCC committee that was looking at what we do about climate change, particularly in our cities. And it is a big problem, 80% less CO2 by 2050 that we have to do. We're not getting anywhere near that, it seems, but when you look at the data there, greenhouse gases going up and up and up, out of control, coal and oil going up and up, it looks really as though we're totally out of control. I want to be a little bit more positive today because this year is historic. For the first time in world history, we can show that greenhouse gas is going down and global wealth is going up. There have been times when you could say that emissions went down, but mostly it was because of a major global recession of some kind. So we are now showing what is the UN are calling decoupling. Decoupling means we can grow in wealth, decline in footprint. Hong Kong, you can see, is decoupling, very flat in the emissions per capita. But it's interesting, the data we have showing coal pretty much static or declining, but oil continuing to go up. And I've been asking the undersecretaries and so on to help me explain that, but it perhaps is something that we need to understand better. But let me say that it is still one of the most efficient cities in the world in terms of transport. Hong Kong is down here. That's the level of car use or the amount of fuel use from transport, so oil if you like. So you can see dramatically different amounts of transport fuel use, and Hong Kong's one of the lowest. Now, I want to try and help us understand that decoupling better and to see what we can learn from the data. Can we learn from coal for a start before we learn about oil? If you look at the factors that are causing this, first of all, energy efficiency is significant now. Sheer appliance efficiency, if you like, because in every area of household usage, it's getting cleverer. But also renewables is taking off. It is worth understanding that the world's bankers made a decision about the future well before governments. Basically this week, the Paris Accord comes into practice. That's not what happened back in around the 2008-9 mark, when investment in coal and gas for power began declining and renewables took over, so that it is now double. This is Bloomberg energy data, and it's from around the world, and it shows a very positive future because renewables is taking off. So what about oil? Because oil is what relates to walkability and the future of cities to decarbonise from oil. So our data is now showing density increases in all our cities. The 100 cities that we study, it's going up. And it's going up in the old walking cities and along the transit lines. This is where people want to live and work, so they don't need a car. The old car-based suburbs are struggling now. So if you look at London, for example, the walking city, the transit areas and the car-based areas are very clear in the data. London's rejuvenation has happened back into the city. All Australian cities are coming back in. If you look at that data there, it shows that the big growth is back into the inner areas. Rail connections are obvious, and now we're finding that in the cities that decouple most, their rail use and their GDP are growing faster. So global growth is now in rail. 82 Chinese cities building metros, 51 Indian cities, all the Middle Eastern cities. This is an extraordinary era of rail.